Mixing this out. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Come on in, come on in. I hope that y'all are well. Come on in, come on in. Thank you, I appreciate that. Come on in, come on in, come on in. I hope that y'all are well. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. Oh, no, not with these dry hands. Y'all know I don't do no dry hands, child. No, thank you. Let me go ahead and hit that. And let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Y'all, if this is your first time joining me, baby, I don't do dry hands. So I'm putting rose oil on my hands because I love rose oil. As a woman, one of the things I think is very important is for you to know what your chemistry is. So when you put like certain parfums on, certain oils or body butters and different things like that, you know, how it reacts to your natural chemistry, right? Some things can amplify, some things can be like, you don't want to wear that again. And so it's really important for you to know. And so for me specifically, rose is one of those scents where I'm able to, it's a head turner for me mixed with my chemistry. So it's really, really important. It's one of the things that you should know as a woman, or I believe that you should know as a woman. Hi, Hammond, Indiana, because it activates senses. And as a feminine woman, you should know how to activate the senses without touching a person. I recently uploaded a 60-second, I think, TikTok where I was kind of walking through an activity of like how I, you know, walk into a room and how I activate the senses and different things like that, right? So we're going to get into it today. We're going to get into some things today. If you feel dysregulated and worried, then you already know how you need to handle that. There's nothing that I need to tell you because you already know how to handle that. The comment is, he said his body count is over 100 and he's cheated in the past. I feel dysregulated and worried. If you feel dysregulated and worried, well, here's the thing too. If you feel dysregulated, that's the sign number 1. Number 2, if you feel worried, that's a spiritual violation because we're not here to actually be worried about anything. So when you find yourself in a state of worry, that means that there is a root of lack. And if you're operating from the root of lack, that means that you're operating opposite from abundance, which is your birthright, which means that you're not living in the fullness of yourself. So I would assess that. Thank you, Lovey, for these gifts. Okay. Put a 1 in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. Today we're going to be talking about why intuition is not enough and why 2026 is going to expose that. Okay. So some of y'all might be mad, but y'all gonna be all right because y'all know I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. It definitely is. So we're gonna talk about it today. If you don't know who I am, hey, New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans. That's my hometown. If you don't know who I am, my name is Elle Antoinette. I'm a psychological identity strategist, and what I do is that I restore internal order. That's why I'm here. I restore internal order so power, money, relationships, leadership organize naturally for high capacity women. Hey, San Antonio. I actually want to come to San Antonio. And so what that looks like is that I teach emotional and energetic sovereignty in a world that's addicted to false performance, false freedom, and dependence. Okay. So we're going to talk today why intuition is not enough and why 2026 is going to expose that. And so something I used to always say when I first got on TikTok was like, expose yourself to yourself so you don't have to get exposed by others. Okay. And so the thing is of why this is so important is one of the men that I studied, like, because I have mentors that I've worked with and I have people that I've studied, and I've studied like Dr. Miles Monroe. And one of the things that Dr. Miles Monroe said, rest Dr. Miles Monroe, was that the higher you ascend, the more you better fix your underclothes, because the more you ascend, the more we can see underneath your skirt, right? So if you don't, we're living in a time right now where everything is being exposed. You've been seeing it starting to happen last year, and you're seeing a lot of it happen currently, and it's going to continue to keep happening. And this is happening because every era that we enter into has an element attached to it, okay? The last era that we exited out of, the element was water. So everything was very emotion based, from religion to the media to emotions. You think about all these different, like, we left that era of water, which is very emotional. We have now entered into an era where the element is air. Okay? The element is air. You think about Wi-Fi, you think about digital surveillance, you can think about all these things that are happening. You think about the internet, you think about how things are very going digital, to the point to where they want you to use the real ID because they want to be able to track where you're going. So everything you think about, everything is being about being open. Everything is about a lack of privacy. Everything is about being exposed. And I want you to pay attention to that. So in this current era that we are in, you are not going to be able to keep hiding the truth of who you are. This is the year. And I'm telling you this in January, like I told y'all last year. I told y'all last year in January, the word was community and money. This year, the words are embodiment or exposure. You are either going to be embodying the truth of who you are, or you're going to be exposed. You're going to choose your reality. Okay? You're going to choose your reality. What you do and do not face is going to choose your reality for 2026. Intuition is not enough. Thank you, my love, for these likes and these gifts. Okay, and the follows. So like I said, again, if you don't know who I am, my name is Elle Antoinette. I'm a psychological identity strategist, and what I do is that I'm here to restore internal order so that power, money, leadership, and relationships naturally organize for high capacity women. Okay, because high capacity women these things don't tend to organize naturally, because a high capacity woman is often a woman that's forgot about, because that woman knows how to do a lot of things. That woman may be the oldest daughter. She may be the person in the family who manages things. She's the smart one. She's the one everyone comes to. You know, people don't have to worry about her, but people also don't check on her. And so she becomes the fixer in every experience, and she's never really getting the desires of her heart. So those women tend to come to work with me. And when they come to work with me, 3 of the top results that women get: number 1, they get more money. If you are stuck at a plateau in your business, if you are stuck in a space, okay, well, I've made, if I keep making 50,000, or I keep making 100,000, and I want to make 200,000, I want to make 500,000, I want to quantum jump into $1 million, women come to see me to be able to do that work. So I support them by restoring internal order so everything organizes properly. These women don't need to make more money. They have to position themselves to receive more money. And so I support them in doing that. The second result that women get when they come to work with me is that they get healthier. I used to be 100 pounds heavier. The highest amount that one of my clients has lost has been 90. I think the lowest is like 30 pounds, right? So I'm not a weight loss coach, but what I understand is energetics. And one of my modalities is energetic psychology. And so that means that I understand how your emotions impact your organs. Thank you for the follows and the likes. I understand how anger ruins your liver, which impacts your menstrual cycle, which causes womb issues. Okay. So women come to work with me, they get healthier. The third result that women get when they come to work with me is that women tend to have better relationships with the masculine. Husbands pay me to work with their wives. Women pay me to have better power dynamics as they navigate, as they rise. Relationships with men when it comes down to money. So I support them in being able to, energetically position themselves to be able to receive and sit in their feminine energy, which supports them in creating better relationships with the masculine, romantically, platonically, and business-wise. And it also supports them in being able to build real community with the feminine. Because I think a lot of us have lost the art of feminine community, and we don't realize the importance of it and the necessity of it, because you do not know yourself and you do not know your history. If you did not know, let me put you back on game. Hold on, there's something on my, there we go. Let me put you on game. When you go back to our history, the village that you guys keep talking about, oh, the village was women. Okay. And while women were in the village raising the children and rearing the children, because I don't like to say raise, you raise cattle. You raise chattel, right? When the women were in the village rearing the children, the men were out hunting and doing the other things. And when the boys got to a certain age, they had to go with the men. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. They had to go with the men. A lot of you will go with men and disconnect from feminine community. Like you're not going to need that. That man can't be everything that you need him to be as a leader and as the head of your household, right? While trying to be everything for you. That's not the way it works. This is why, and I talked about this the other day, and I even posted a video about this, about how women really need to romanticize. If you romanticize your life, you'll stop performing for men. If you really loved yourself and you romanticize your life, because being romantic is for your life. That's for your life. Because the reality of the situation is this: even when you are with someone for a long period of time, things are going to slow down, things are going to shift, but you don't shift when it comes down to you. And women tend to lose the plot because they lose the idea and the focus of prioritizing themselves. Women who, hi Joseph, women, and this is about to sound insane, but it's just really true. Women who are completely and utterly selfish in the sense of all about their spiritual health, all about their mental health, all about their emotional health, all about their physical health, all about their financial health, all about their social health. Those women are the most attractive because they're so absorbed with making themselves the best and being the best version of themselves at all time that people want to be in their energy. So yes, I will pay whatever type of money to get whatever type of ring you want just for me to be in your world, because I want to be in your world, because your world is so attractive, because you are just the vibe. Like I said, we as women are the vibe. Men don't bring the vibe, they looking for it. You understand? Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. Men don't bring the vibe, they look for it, and we are the vibe. But if you aren't a vibe, if you don't romanticize your own life, this is why you continue to perform for men. This is why you people please for them. This is why you will compromise your ethics, why you will compromise your standards, why you will, act like you don't have any boundaries when you get around them. And it's all because you go into the state of performance because your life is not romantic enough. You are not really in love with yourself the way you need to be. In love is for you to be in love with yourself. You loving someone else is you not being in love. That's you choosing to share your love with somebody else. Y'all be getting it confused, wondering why you can't get out of something that you put yourself in. Fall in love with yourself. Romanticize your reality so much so that people crave to be in it. Okay? That's how they're supposed to go. And people get to benefit from you taking care of yourself and making sure that you are at your best. People get to benefit because you are at a high vibrational state because your boundaries are so tight. Y'all getting it confused. You think you have to please people. You need to prioritize your well-being and yourself. And people who value that get to benefit from you taking care of yourself. You have the game wrong. You have the game completely wrong. Okay? So let's go ahead and get into why it's going to be a big exposing, even more exposing in 2026, and why intuition is not going to be enough. I need you to hear what I'm saying without any emotion and without any fantasy, okay? Because I'm just telling you straight up. Thank you, my love, for these likes. And y'all, I would love to get to 20,000 likes on this live. So if you would help me get there, if you find value. Now, this is what my strong belief. If you are receiving value, then give value. Okay? Because what you're doing is that you're sowing back into your ecosystem of value. What you're doing is sowing back into spiritual law. Spiritual law says, whatever a man sows, ye shall reap. The law of sowing and reaping, right? So if you receive value and you sow value, you will continue to receive value. Why is that principle so powerful, and why does it work so well? Because it tells you in scripture literally that to be a cheerful giver. Why would you be a cheerful giver? Well, you're a cheerful giver because you know to give is better to give than to receive, because if you're always giving according to the law of sowing and reaping, if you're always giving value, you're always going to find value. Value is always going to find you. Okay? So, excuse me, I'm sorry. So, make sure if you're receiving value to give value, and giving value could look like, you know, liking the live, sharing the live, whatever it is, but don't hold value. Don't block your abundance by holding your hand tight. Okay? So let's go ahead and get straight into it. I need you to understand, and I need you to hear this, like I said, without any emotion and without any fantasy behind it. But 2026 is not for giving dysregulated women. I'm just going to tell you flat foot. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you how you can come out of that. But you're going to have to make some real decisions on today. Okay? 2026. Hi, Lovey. 2026. Okay? Is not forgiving dysregulated women. Okay? Because there's too much information out here. I'm not talking about intuitive women. I'm not talking about intelligent women. I'm not talking about spiritually aware women. I'm talking about dysregulated women. Okay? And the women most at risk are the ones that know that they're powerful. And let's talk about those women, because if you can sense your patterns but still repeat them, you have the power of awareness. Okay? If you know something is off but you still override it, you have the power of awareness. You're actively aware. Okay? If your awareness is really, really high, but your follow through collapses, I need you to understand that you're not blocked, you're not unlucky, but what you are, okay, is structurally unprepared for what is coming next. And I am concerned about you. I am concerned about you. Thank you, my love, for these likes and these follows. I am concerned about you. You're not blocked. So stop saying that. See, stop putting yourself under curses by saying certain things. You're not blocked. You're not unlucky. You are structurally unprepared for what is coming next. And I am concerned about you. Okay? Now I'm going to teach you a framework, right? And you're not going to hear this anywhere else, because my work consists of, because I work with women, it consists of everything I teach. Number one, is rooted in scripture and backed up by science. The science that I study is psychobiology and physics. And so I use these things to be able to support my amazing clients, which support them in making more money and getting healthier and in attracting better community and different things like that, right? Thank you, my love, and thank you for these gifts and these follows. And so what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to bridge the gap between feminine mysticism, feminine science, and feminine mastery, which are going to be extremely necessary in 2026 if you want to thrive, okay? Now, before I get into the fullness of this, I always say that the prerequisite to this work is three things that I'm about to tell you right now. Number one, it's very important as a woman for you to understand spiritual law. Stop allowing yourself to be sucked into, I'm sorry, my nose itches so bad, y'all, sorry. Stop allowing yourself to be sucked into what society is saying. Stop allowing yourself to be sucked into the emotional up and down of the games that they're playing. And what I mean by that is, the first thing that you need to understand as a woman, if you want to thrive, before we even get into this, is you need to understand spiritual law. I'm not even kidding. This ain't no woo-woo stuff. This is really what it is. Because here's what I need you to know. When everybody says no one is bigger than the program, let me tell you what the programs actually are. The ultimate program is spiritual law. The ultimate program is your spiritual condition, okay? Because you are a spirit being having a human experience. That's first and foremost. You know why the 1% tends to do well and they go up? Because they use spiritual law from a dark aspect, and they do things like use glamour magic, which glamour magic is nothing but the ability to bend perception. And they also use psychological spell work, like things like struggle love. You have to work hard to achieve something. That's a psychological spell. So they do things like that, right? To get you and to distract you from hitting your mark. And so when it talks about in scripture, sin by definition means to miss the mark. They detach you or do everything to disconnect you from your core. So you believe that you're powerless, so you never hit any of your marks, okay? But you don't know that if you don't understand spiritual law, okay? You can use spiritual law to create the reality that you desire. Your reality is based on your perception. They use glamour magic to change your perception, which is to bend how you see reality. Okay. So you got to know spiritual law if you want to thrive in this society, in this world as a woman, because they will play these games on your top. Okay. The second thing is going to be very important is which I'm talking about a little bit today, which is the feminine science aspect. You need to understand the science of yourself. Thank you, my love, for these likes and these follows. You need to understand the science of yourself. And what I mean by the science of yourself is, number one, you are a cyclical being. You don't work like men. So even if you think you can work and outdo them, and you're not designed to work like them, which is why your body breaks down, which is why your womb will break down, which is why a whole bunch of stuff will start happening, because we are cyclical beings. We are designed literally for rest periods, rejuvenation periods. Like, we are designed for that. But because we are so disconnected, we are not in sync with our cycles. We are not in sync with our circadian rhythm clock. We are not in sync with our lunar clock, which is our moon clock. So we are out of balance hormonally. Thank you, Lovey, for these gifts and these likes. We're out of balance. And so when you're out of balance, that means your chemistry is off. See, now we have a problem. See, this is why it's important for you to understand the science of yourself. When your internal chemistry is off, do you really believe that you can trust yourself to believe you have chemistry with a man? See, this is what I be talking about when I say that y'all on birth control pills. And I have a video on TikTok, a little short one, that talks about how when you're on birth control pills, it mutes your natural attraction cycle because you're in a simulation of pregnancy while you're on birth control pills. And so it mutes your natural attraction cycle. And your natural attraction cycle is this. This is how we attract as women. Okay, if you didn't know. We attract through erotic polarity, okay, which means that whatever energy that we are in dominantly is what we're going to call forth. So if you are in your feminine energy, polarity wise, you're going to pull the masculine. If you're not in that energy, then you're going to pull someone who is more feminine energy. So that's first, erotic polarity, okay? The second thing that's important is that attraction is also smell. It's scent. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. This is why I tell women, if you are hanging out with a man and y'all go do something active and his smell from when him getting sweaty turns you off and like it disgusts you, that's one way your body is rejecting him. That's one way your body is telling you, hey, no. Okay? Smell is also one of them. And everything I teach is science, okay? So the third thing is overall sexual charge, right? But here's the thing that you need to understand. When you take birth control, it mutes those things. It messes with your ability to smell what's right. It messes with the polarity. So you may be actually in your energy of the masculine because now you have a foreign object in your body that's working harder and it's causing you to be moody because it throws your body and things out of balance. So the energy you may portray may actually be more on the masculine aspect, which is why you may be actually calling in more of men who are dominant in their feminine aspect. So a lot of women who are on birth control realize when they get off birth control that they don't even like the man that they're with. And I posted a video about this and there are women in the comments like, this is so true. This happened to me. I'm not new to this. I'm very true to it. So the second thing that's very important is you really should understand the science of yourself, because if you understand the science of yourself, then you will understand the science of feminine design. You will understand the science of your feminine, which means that you will automatically begin to understand the science of your masculine, of the masculine. Because if you know your feminine front and back, side to side, up and down, then you know what feminine looks like. You know what feminine energy is. And most importantly, you know what masculine energy is, because it's the complete opposite of what you would do. So if you got somebody in your face who want to argue and that happens to be presenting in a man's body, but he want to argue and do all this with you, you as a woman You as the feminine should not cat back. Because what that should tell you, if you're truly in your feminine, because let's get into it, is that you're not dealing with a masculine, but you're dealing with someone who's masculine presenting. And because that person is masculine presenting and in presence, he still has the full strength. So arguing with somebody who's out of their body and expecting them to be rational is insane. He's not even the fullness of his energy. Why would you argue with a man? See, this is what I be talking about in regard to provoking that women don't realize. When you realize you're dealing with somebody that's out of their body, when you realize you're dealing with somebody that's out of their body, see, and I'm going to tell you something, real masculine men are not going to argue or put their hands on you. When you start doing that, what they going to do? They're going to walk away. Because the truth is, when men go cat amongst each other, somebody finna lose their life. Because men don't play like that. Because men understand when you're dealing with other men, disrespect, violence begets disrespect. And because that masculine man is not going to be violent with you, he's going to walk away while you cat. This is why it's important for you to understand the science of yourself, beloved. See, when you understand the science of yourself, you are able to recognize the masculine. You see it for what it is, okay? The third thing that's going to be very, very important if you want to thrive before we really dive into what I'm talking about today is it's going to be very important for you as a woman to study the generational psychology of your lineage, specifically the women in your family, starting with your mother. And this is going to require you to take off your judgmental glasses, okay? And assess your mother as someone who, this is her first time doing life. Assess your grandmother with the same energy, your aunts, your great-grandmother, all of them before you. Because what you are doing is looking for the patterns. Because as much as you went to therapy, as much as you now making all this money, as much as you doing all these things and people call and depend on you, you are no different from the people you came from. I don't care how much education or money or whatever it is that you pick up and you get. Pressure reveals and builds character. Let me get you mad and see how you really act. Let me get in that energy and let me see how you really act. Because that's going to tell me the truth about you. Okay? So it's very important for you to realize, hi, Lovey, are you really here to break the curse of low self-esteem? Or are you here to break the curse of generational wealth? Because you made the money and you're still not happy. Or were you really here to heal or break the curse of low self-esteem? Because that's why your mama kept choosing a man the way she was choosing, and why your grandmother stayed in that scenario that she was in, and your aunt consistently repeats these patterns. But no, you got a lot of judgment for them, but you ain't got no heart for them. But you want everybody to have heart for you. If you want to thrive as a woman in this society, I'm going to say this again. Number one, you need to understand spiritual law, baby, or you're going to drown in victimhood. Number two, you need to understand the science of yourself, sweetheart, and understand your own chemistry before you claim you got a chemical bond with this man. You ever put two chemicals together that didn't belong together? What happened? An explosion. Everybody had chemistry before. Everybody took chemistry. I love chemistry. I tell I'm a nerd. So I study science and all this, because I wanted to know how the body works. I used to be 100 pounds heavy. I wanted to understand my science. Why I keep attracting this. Then I found out attraction was science. Okay? So again, number one, understand spiritual law. Number two, understanding the science of yourself, knowing spiritual law, using spiritual law to create your reality. Number two, understanding the science of yourself. And number three, knowing the generational psychology of the women that came before you. The things that I'm telling you, those things are going to save your life. They're going to save you from wasting time. They're going to save you from being an idiot, okay? And living beneath what the Most High created for you, all right? So this is very, very important, what I'm talking about and what I'm giving. So those three things are important before I get into this next piece. Please, please, please understand, 2026 is not going to be forgiving to women who are not taking care of themselves, okay? Thank you, Lovey. Y'all give me 1 second. Let me grab my water right quick, and I'm going directly into it. Give me 2 seconds. All right. So everybody put a 1 in the comments for me so I can make sure that you guys can hear me clearly. Today we're talking about why intuition is not enough and why 2026 is going to expose that. We are living in the age of air, what I like to call, because every era has an element attached to it if you go back and you study. Okay? And you go back in and you just look for yourself, all right? Everything I teach is rooted in scripture, backed up by science, because I'm a nerd like that. I love science. I love scripture. I love God. I love the Most High God, not the God that people try to, all of that. So, and everything I teach is in scripture and is backed up by science. So anything you hear, go look it up. That's what I want you to do. You ain't even got to listen to what I'm saying. Go look it up. Okay? All right. So again, like I told you guys, 2026 is not going to be forgiving for the dysregulated woman. Okay? And we have to get down to the bottom of really bridging the gap. And so I'm going to really, really tap into that today, because it's going to be really, really important for you to understand that you're not blocked. You're not unlucky. You literally are just structurally unprepared for what's coming. And so what this is going to be is I'm going to support you in getting prepared. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into one of the first things, which is going to be the framework lock. Okay. So here's the bridge that a lot of women were never given. Okay. And this is going to be very, very important in 2026 in your understanding of self. The best gift that you can give yourself and you can give to everyone else around you is for you to be very clear on yourself, to value yourself, because people are treating you based on the way that you treat yourself, whether they tell you this or they don't tell you this. But this is exactly what is happening. Okay. So here's the bridge. So feminine mysticism, and I'm going to define all these for you, okay? Feminine mysticism observes the pattern, right? Which is your perception. Feminine science explains the mechanism as far as how it works. Feminine mastery is what integrates both into regulation and result. So if you're wanting to achieve a certain result, you have to observe the pattern, you have to be able to explain the mechanism, and you have to be able to integrate both of those things in order to regulate yourself so that you can produce the result that you truly, truly desire. Okay. Now that I've explained a little bit of that, what I need you to understand is that most women, especially most women that come to work with me, who purchase products and things from me, most of those women literally live in one of those worlds. They tend not to be, you need both for regulation and results, but most women tend to live in only one of those spaces, okay? And that's why they keep leaking power. If you're too much in the observation pattern where you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be dealing with this, you shouldn't be in this experience, but you don't do anything, having the perception, having feminine mysticism, or it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything because you're not doing anything, okay? So if you're in a space where you can explain the mechanism, you can break down your attachment style. You can say exactly why you have abandonment issues. You can break it all down. You can explain why you operate the way you operate. If you are not integrating both what you see and what is happening, then you're not going to be able to be regulated enough to deliver or get the result that you're looking for. And this can apply in any aspect of your life. I don't care if it's with food. I don't care if it's with finances. I don't care if it's with the fellas. All of those things, they matter in that space. You have to be very, very clear, because if you're not integrating both, you are losing power. You are losing power. Okay. Thank you, my love. And when you are in relationship, that's actually biblical. Everything I teach is rooted in scripture, sweets. So one of the things that's very important, I think, that women don't realize when it comes down to this aspect of feminine mysticism, of just like observing the pattern, is that how many people do we know? How many people do we know that are extremely important and valuable and can tell you everything about what you got going on in your life and what's happening here and what's this, and can tell you all the patterns about yourself, but they have not fixed 1 ounce of anything when it comes down to their own existence and their own lives? How many people do we know like that? We know a lot of people that are like that. They just leak in power. You can tell they wise. You can tell they this. We all know it's somebody the smartest person in the hood. It's a lot of people that we know are highly intelligent, but they're not willing to really do anything. So let's talk about exactly what feminine mysticism is and what this really looks like, right? Feminine mysticism is not belief like people think it is, right? It's not fantasy. It's not manifestation rituals. It's literally the capacity to receive subtle patterns before they become visible consequences. Like that warning you got in your gut that told you to leave dude alone the first day. Huh? You remember that? You remember that them butterflies? I want you to think about anybody you had butterflies for. They took you to hell, didn't it? Any man you probably have had butterflies for is taking you straight to hell with them butterflies. Like he just took you on a ride. Okay? Those butterflies were not a symbol of love. They were a sign from your nervous system saying, hey, get out of here. Run. Run. Your nervous system doesn't scream unless it's about to completely burn out. But it whispers all the time. It whispers all the time. Feminine mysticism is the capacity to perceive subtle patterns before they become visible consequences. Okay? People don't listen. People don't pay attention. Perfect example of this. You feel something off. You sense a situation is going to drain you. You know whether a relationship, a decision, or even a direction isn't aligned. Those things are not delusion. But you treat them like delusion, and you disrespect the one that created you by going ask a human being to confirm what you felt on the inside? Are we okay? Since when we start asking humans about God things? Since when we start verifying or getting validation on kingdom things? Because the kingdom is within you. The kingdom is, according to Luke 17:21, the kingdom is according to you. So you left the kingdom to ask somebody outside of the kingdom, is what you're doing correct? Or are you tripping by what you feel? No, these things are not delusions. Feminine mysticism can name that truth. However, it can't stabilize the system holding it though. Can't do that. It can identify the truth, but it can't stabilize the system holding it. So let's get into this next point. If you just joined, welcome. First and foremost, we're not talking about manifestation. We're talking about high awareness women, or why high awareness women are failing, right? Not because they lack intuition, but because they lack internal regulation. And so that's why I'm here. My name is L. Antoinette. I'm a psychological identity strategist, and I'm here to restore internal order so that money, power, leadership, and relationships organize naturally for high capacity women, because these things don't organize naturally for those women, because those women train people that they don't need help. They teach people that they know how to do everything with their actions because they don't know how to be vulnerable and ask, because they're tired of being disappointed. It's a multitude of reasons of why the high awareness woman is extremely competent and nobody, worries about her and all of these things, right? It's a multitude of reasons why. But stay with me, okay? Because in the next couple of minutes, I'm about to show you the biological reason your intuition feels like anxiety and why that matters right now in 2026. Okay, so thank you for being here. So the second thing is definition, or the definition for feminine science. Okay, feminine science is not a hustle science. Okay, it's not discipline. It's not a do more. It literally studies the female system, regulates emotion, stress, rhythm, behavior under pressure. That's what it looks like. Okay, so feminine science studies the female system. Okay, regulates emotions, stress, rhythm, as well as behavior under pressure. Thank you, Lovey. Hi. It also goes into why your body reacts before your mind. And this is why I tell y'all, I love y'all. And I'm so happy that y'all learning neuroscience. But y'all gonna have to put neuroscience on the back burner if you don't know psychobiology. Because guess what? The body reacts before the mind. Can't you see that? Your body telling you that he is horrible. Your mind ain't caught up yet. But you don't believe your body because there's a lack of self-trust. That's the deeper issue. It's a lack of self-trust. So you don't trust what you hear, which is why you go outside of the palace to ask somebody on the street for advice. You left the kingdom to ask somebody in the courtyard outside of the kingdom about kingdom things. Okay? Your body reacts before your mind does. Okay? Feminine science also helps you figure out why consistency collapses when capacity is exceeded. It also supports you in understanding why motivation fails the nervous system. Okay? And why it fails the nervous system, especially when the system isn't safe. Science stabilizes you, but without meaning, which is the feminine mysticism aspect, it dries you completely out. It dries you completely out. Okay? Let me see. I'm trying to get y'all comments. Y'all do me a favor and hold questions for me. Okay? Hold questions for me towards the end. So let's get into the aspect of where there's the point of failure and what actually happens between the feminine mysticism and the feminine science, understanding how we work and understanding like what exactly is going on. Okay? So for a lot of people, feminine mysticism without science literally becomes a fantasy. And science without the feminine mysticism becomes fragmentation. This looks like you having high awareness but low regulation. You know that every time you see this person, you get anxiety, but you don't have no kind of plan or prep on how you're going to deal with that. And let me tell you something. I'm talking to the women who have horrible relationships or tight relationships with their mother. Right there with that. Right there with that right there. Let's stay right here. You have high awareness of what your mother brings out of you when you enter into her space, yet you still have low regulation and you've been with her your whole life. See, this is why I always have to explain to women when they come to work with me and they want to talk about boundaries with men. I don't want to talk about boundaries with men. We're not talking about that. We're going to talk about boundaries with the people you came up with first. Because if you don't handle your first bully with the proper boundaries and protocol, then you're not going to be able to handle any other bully that you are dealing with. Okay? And that's just for real. So these are the things that we have to start paying attention to. If you are highly aware, if you are a millennial or a Gen Zer and you have a parent, because a lot of us have parents that are baby boomers and different things like that. And that's a different generation. That's a different generation and they move different. They are not as, they ain't going to really sugarcoat stuff for you. They ain't really going to be sweet to you when they telling you about yourself. They not really, they feel like they just going to do and say whatever. It's nothing wrong with you setting boundaries with your parents. And especially for those of you who have allowed people to trick you using scripture, have quoted scripture at that. Okay? So while they are telling you to honor your mama and your daddy, my mom was born in 61, so I know. My daddy was born in 60, rest him. But you know that she's going to bring all of these things out of you. Set the proper boundaries. Yes, it tells you to honor your mother and your father. Honor means to respect. You can respect somebody from afar. You can honor somebody from afar. 49, oh yeah, baby, I know you know. You can honor somebody from afar. It also says in scripture, parents do not provoke your children to the point to where they want nothing to do with you, because that can actually happen. That's Ephesians 6:4. So why are you allowing people to pimp you with a word that you're not reading? You might want to investigate for yourself, beloved. And for the parents who were born in those generations, the boomer generation, the baby boomer generation, I don't judge them for their approach, because honestly, what was going on during their time frames made them like that. Made them like that. And despite whether or not we want to be honest with ourselves, the aspects of them, that made us who we are, good and bad. But in any scenario, in any experience, including the relationship with your parent, you are to look at it as if the great things that you were given, keep those. And the things that don't belong, that were not great, throw them in the trash. You get to make a decision about how the continuation of your legacy and your lineage goes with what decisions that you make. But it's going to require you to, be more than high aware, low regulation, or big desire, weak containment. How dare you desire a healthy relationship when you are not a safe space? How dare you? How dare you? Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes and these comments. How dare you? If you are not spiritually safe, mentally safe, emotionally safe, physically safe, okay, then sweetheart, you are not an energetic match to contain a healthy relationship. You will not sustain one. You can attract anybody. The light, roach is attracted to light. Okay? My mom was born in 40. I always fought back mentally, spiritually with her. God rest her soul. God rest her. Like we're not. You got big desire, low containment. Oh, I want a six-figure. I want a multi-six-figure business. I want a multi-million-dollar business. You can't hold $10 in your hand without it burning a hole in your hand. Make it make sense. High awareness, low regulation. Big desire, weak containment. That's why manifestation hasn't worked for you. Manifestation is science. Attraction is science. These are things that I teach. They're literally science. There's an art to it the art to it is where y'all see a lot of the woo-woo. Oh my God, we're going to do this and yada, 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 and blah. And we're going to yeah, okay, cool. But there's a science to it as well. And if you tap into the science to it, you don't have to do all the other stuff. You just don't. That's why your manifestation hasn't worked. That's why healing didn't stick. That's why 2025 really exhausted you the way that it did. Insight outpaced regulation. See, we live in a society now where it's information overload. So a lot of you are getting a lot of insight, but you ain't moving on it. You ain't doing nothing different. Y'all ain't gonna do nothing until they lock you out of the internet, and then you're gonna be craving for it. Like, I wish I would have took advantage and did this. Y'all better pay attention. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. Your insight outpaced your regulation. Okay? Come on in. A couple of people came on in. If you just came on in, listen closely, because we're breaking down why knowing better hasn't translated into living better, and why the gap will be punished in 2026 if it's not corrected. I'm just keeping it real with you. Okay? Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. So let's talk a little bit about how this translates and comes into the body, the feminine body, okay? So the feminine body is where mysticism becomes measurable. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. And where intuition becomes interoception, okay? And interoception is the body's ability, okay, to sense what's happening inside your body before the mind can explain it, okay? This looks like the tight chest, the shallow breathing, the sudden fatigue, the butterflies, the irritation with no obvious reason, the urge to pull back. You just get a feeling you need to pull back. Those things are not anxiety. Those are interoception, okay? Your internal guiding system is literally letting you know. It tells you when capacity is exceeded. It tells you when a boundary is crossed. It tells you when a pattern is about to repeat. When you ignore this, okay, your intuition becomes chaotic. So when you say something like something feels off, the real question is, where is my system overlooked, delayed, or leaking? Anytime you get butterflies in your stomach, hear what I'm telling you, because I'm tired of y'all getting tricked. Y'all getting tricked by dummies, which is really insane to me. We are not this desperate that we are being tricked by dummies. Like, I just don't understand. How are you allowing them to use your own elements of yourself on you? When I hear women say, I keep attracting feminine men, sweetheart, let's talk about that for a second. You keep attracting feminine men because of the polarity. You are not bigger than the second program, which is science. And a part of that program, the program of your body, is your nervous system. So you're not bigger than the program. So if you keep pulling in feminine men into your space, the polarity energy that you are providing is masculine. Go and watch that video I just posted. It got low views, but I don't know why. Y'all need to go watch it. It's the video I got on black and white that that's in black and white that I posted yesterday. And I talked about the difference between a nurturer and a nuisance. That's two different types of energy. You should go over there and see which one you really are. Because a lot of women think that they are nurturers, when in reality, you are nuisances. This is why you attract men who love when you go off on them. They get hard at the fact that you go off on them, but then they also get distant from you when you go off on them, when they get tired of. Why? Because going off on them reminds them, in a way, of a mother. And guess what? When boys get to a certain age, thank you, my love, and they start cutting up and different things happening, mom tends to become a bit of a nuisance to them. You understand? And they try to get away from her. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. So if you are constantly pulling into or entertaining in your magnetic field men who give you the energy where they are leveraging you, then you are showing yourself as resourceful. And this looks like you going on a date, him telling you his problems, and you immediately starting to solve his problems because you want to look like you're useful. You want to look like you can take care of things. See, this is what I'm talking about. You trying to put up an image and perform for a man. And you do this because your life is not romantic enough. Because if you valued yourself and you loved yourself enough, you understand that your being is the value. You being there is the treat. But you can't understand that energy when you don't understand yourself. So when you are feeling butterflies in your stomach and feeling all these things, the question you need to be asking internally is, where is my system overloaded, delayed, or leaking? Because that means that something is being siphoned from you. Whether your mind ain't caught up to it yet, but in some form or fashion, there's a symphony. There's an exchange of energy happening. There's a symphony of energy happening. And you better check and see if it's going in your favor. Because if you get that message, it's kind of like the warning light on your car that start blinking. Okay? So where in my system is there an overload? Is there a delay? Or is there leaking? That's the question you need to be asking yourself. All right? Now I'm going to talk a little bit about, thank you, my love. I'm going to talk a little bit about belief versus calibration so you can kind of get this understanding, okay? So feminine mysticism is going to ask you to believe, right? Feminine science asks you to calibrate. Thank you, Lovey, for these gifts and these likes. Feminine science is not going to ask you, do you believe this? Feminine science is going to ask you, can your system hold this? Can your system hold this? Can your system hold a cheating man? He's a cheater. I'm trying to tell you, he's a cheater. Can your nervous system hold a cheater? Because last time we had a cheater, we had a nervous breakdown after we had a cheater. So can your system hold this? See, you begin warnings and don't even know it. Don't even know it. Feminine mysticism asks you to believe. Feminine science asks you to calibrate. Not do you believe this? It asks you, can my system hold this? Even when you meet a man that's a great man, that's an amazing man, that's wonderful, that's this and that's that, and you get nervous about it, like, oh, I'm about to mess it up. Are you really prepared for this? Can you hold this? See, this happens to men a lot. They meet women that they are very drawn to, very magnetized to, very attracted to, and then they get in that space and then they realize, damn, I don't think I could hold her. And then you got the ones who are low. And when I say low, they haven't risen above their animalistic nature. So because they can't hold you, they're going to keep you until you realize that they can't hold you. And that's if you ever realize that they can't hold you. And this is how you find yourself in the placeholder positioning. Okay? So these are the things, hold y'all questions for me. These are the things that you have to pay very, very close attention to. How y'all letting men run the game that we are literally, how you let them use charm on you? Charm is our thing. Do you understand that? We are the charmers. How you let him charm you? How you let him seduce you? That's what we do. How you let that happen? See, that only happens in a space when you're out of your body. You're not in the right energy. True masculine men don't try to charm you, sweetie. They're not they're not trying to charm you. They deliver results. They make things happen. They provide structure. They provide order. They provide direction. Okay? They're looking to elevate you. There's one of my, I can't say too much because somebody close to me, right? We were talking about she wanted to get out here and she wanted to start dating and stuff again. So she ended up meeting a guy. I told her some things. We're extremely close. And she met the guy. First day, they went to go, they went on an adventure date, and then they went to dinner afterwards. On that date, while he was on there with her, he planned the next date for the following. She told him that she wanted to start working out because she wanted to get healthier because her birthday was coming up in a few months. He put her birthday in the calendar. They went on the date Saturday. They just did their first workout session yesterday at Tuesday. The next workout session is going to be next Tuesday, and then they have another day planned. He's asking her things like, hey, how do you like to be gifted? What type of things do you enjoy? Y'all want to know how old that man is? 31. The other party, she's 27. So when I tell y'all, and he was like, they went to the gym, and he was like, I'm gonna send you a nutrition plan and do all of this stuff. I was on the phone with her last night. He sent her like a 4-page nutrition plan. When I tell you that there are people who will automatically come into your space and add value, that is what masculine men do. They come into your space and they automatically add value. They want to know what you have going on and how they can support that. They're not asking you what you do. They're not asking you for anything. They don't want to take from you. They want to be a part of your world. But when you don't have a world and you make him your world, you become a repellent. You become a repellent to him. Very unattractive because it's clingy. It says I have no life. It says I have no existence outside of this experience right here. It says I can't hold this. That's what it says. Desire without containment becomes a fantasy. See, this is why people be saying that women don't live in reality, because you be thinking that you can have something that you can't have. Because let's talk about it real quick. I hear a lot of women, this is the one. I hear a lot of women that come to me and say things like, I want a man. He needs to be making 6 figures. He needs to be doing this. He needs to be doing that. Yada, 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 yada. Okay. So if he comes into your space and he needs to be doing all of these things and he needs to be wealthy and when do you ever interact with wealthy men? What places are you going to, and what community things are you involved in where wealthy men are in that space? See, this is what I'm talking about with a fantasy. You desire something, but you have no container. You have no community for you to even go in to even be able to access the type of individuals that you claim that you desire so much. And you're not doing anything to position yourself to be in those spaces, to be able to access any of that. So you're living in a fantasy world. A lot of women are living in a fantasy world. You're not going to be able to have that. And this is not me being like, I'm trying to say you can't have this. I can have whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. But based on the reality that you are in, which your reality is based on your perception, it is based on what you created using spiritual law. It is based on you understanding the science of yourself and you doing that work of that generational history, lineage. Okay? When you are in that energy, you position yourself to be in a better state. When you become spiritually grounded, mentally sound, emotionally stable, it's easier for you to make money faster and a lot more money. The number one result that women get when they come to work with me is that they make more money. Why? Because regulation and result. What did I say? Feminine mysticism, feminine science, Integrating both of those is going to regulate and create results. So women that come to work with me, they make more money. So guess what happens when these women make more money, right? They can do other things. They have options. So now that they have certain money, they start going to the expensive gym, the private gym, the gym where a lot of people who make money go. Or she tends to start shopping or going in other spaces of time, or she starts to travel, right? So she starts to position herself to be in different spaces so that she can contain what she desires. Because being at her house, not making any money, not focusing on herself, not becoming the best version of herself is not pushing her towards what she wants. Okay? Desire without containment is a fantasy. It's the exact same thing when a man is coming to you and saying, I want to be put you in a situation, I want to pipe you down, but I don't want you to be my woman. I don't want you to be my wife. I just want to pipe you down. He desires you, but he don't even want to contain you. He don't even want to put you up. He don't even want to set you straight. He don't even want to set you straight. Thank you, love me. All praises to the Most High. He don't even want to set you straight. Men who really fool with you want to set you straight even if you're not there. Let me tell you something. Before XRP started getting real up, there was a dude who was really interested in me. Very interested in me. He made it very clear. He's married now. He's, family and all that. I'm really excited for him. But in the time when he was showing interest to me, he gave me a list of cryptocurrencies and stocks and things that I should invest in, told me exactly what I needed to do, even talked to my mother to help my mama do it, and everything he said came to pass. And me and him didn't get together, but he just really, really liked me. He saw that I could do things on my own. He told me that ambition was attractive to him because he had his own ambition. He's in medical school. He's working on something that was extremely amazing that's going to drop some years down the line. Hi, Lovey. And he gave me that because he wanted me to be in position. And I will always respect him for that. Men who value in that space. Oh, Kim, did you get my text too? Because I had texted you back, but I'm sorry it took me a minute because I didn't see it. They want you in a better position. They want to see you contained even if you're not there. They want to make sure you're good. He wanted to make sure that I had something, a container, a structure, or something that was going to be bringing in more income or increasing my capital in some kind of way, whether he was my man or not. See, that's the difference. See, when you have men in your space who would take care of you, that's not sleeping with you and ain't trying to sleep with you, because they just want to see you in that space, it's a lot of desire without containment going on around here. Men be like, I want to build with you, but have little to nothing to build with, y'all. I'll be like, build yourself, baby. Yes, Kim, text me. Text me and let me know how things are going. Okay? All right. So, like I said, desire without containment becomes a fantasy. It's not reality. And containment without desire becomes rigidity. Okay? Containment without desire is that you trying to force, you asking a man, what are we? That's containment without desire. Containment without desire is saying, what are we? I want you to do this. My man, I'm strict. My man got to do this. He 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 don't desire you, which is why he doesn't set up the container for you. And so you think that you're going to contain him. He doesn't have the desire. Now he think you trying to run him. And when men think you trying to run him, because in masculine psychology, autonomy and freedom, they are at the top for men over connection, sweetie, over commitment, over companionship. They want freedom and autonomy. That's why when y'all be saying, "Ooh, she married to him and he just be doing whatever," they gonna marry who allows them to be themselves. Okay? They're gonna marry the one who allows them to be themselves. No matter what that self look like, that self could be trifling, that self could be heavenly. That is what it is. Containment without desire becomes rigidity. It becomes You're trying to hold them. You're trying to be strict. You're trying to do this. You're trying to do that. What I need you to understand is that, and thank you so much. You said it makes sense. Put a yes in the comments if this makes sense, because what this is data. It's data for you to be able to understand and get really, really clear here. Because your intuition and knowing and different things is really not enough. If you feel called out, but you can't follow through, then the issue is not belief. The issue is pattern integrity. Okay? That's not spiritual. That's the scientific aspect. That's structural. Now it's rooted in spiritual. But this is the structural scientific that we're talking about today. Okay? Everything that I have said would matter in any year. Everything that I've told you today would matter in any year. But in 2026, it becomes non-optional. Y'all, you do not have the time you think you have. This year is going to go by really fast. And if you're not in position to receive, you're going to get locked out. Because the flood that's coming in, the flood of income, the flood of different things that are coming in 2026, it's not going to be as free-flowing in 2027. It's not going to be as free-flowing in 2028. There is a lot of money that's going to... Some people are going to become millionaires this year. I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding. Y'all not paying attention. There's so much money being moved over your head. Some people are going to become millionaires this year. This is the year that you set up your lineage. This is the year that you set up the things for your life. This is the year that you grab your cash, you invest it to where it needs to be, so it can flip and make you more cash before the dollar crash. I'm not going to repeat that. I hope you heard what I said. Because it's coming. Okay? And normally, I'm going to ask you a question. What do stores do when they have an overload of meat that they're trying to get rid of? They mark the price down. They put it out there almost at such discount prices, so much so you can pick up maybe about 3 of them, 4 of them for the same price. Exactly, markdowns. There we go. Because they're trying to get rid of it. Because something new is coming. It's not a coincidence that they want their digital ID on your phone. It's not a coincidence that things are going to digital. Pay attention. Get your head out of the clouds and pay attention. This is not a drill. This is not a drill. Okay? Like I said, you see him, Kendra. You see him. They marketing that, and you know what else they secretly marketing? Underneath that people ain't paying attention. You will own nothing and be happy. You will own nothing and be happy. Watch what I'm telling you. Watch what I'm telling you. Everything I said, like I said, would matter in any year, but in 2026, it becomes non-optional because 2026 is a sorting year. It's execution over ideas. Yep, everything is rent this. You sure better know. And a lot of people are like, oh, we need to hurry up and buy land. Let me tell you something. This plan been going on so tough and so long. Y'all should have caught it when they was buying up all the houses in 2013. See, that's how far behind many of us are. They've been buying up these houses and all this property and all this for a reason, baby, because they're going to outprice. You're going to need capital. You're going to need to be in relationships. See, relationships finna change. You know why you need to be in certain rooms being connected to certain people? Because people are going to be marrying based on Like it's gonna be conscious creation and conscious marriages. It ain't gonna be all this. Oh, the love concept is a Western concept that came into play later down the line because marriage was never about love. It don't even say that in scripture. Hello, marriage was never about a feeling of love. See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all really don't be knowing what y'all be asking for. You don't really know what you're saying. 2026 is a sorting year. It's execution over ideas. It's consistency over potential. It's consistency over potential. It's consistency over potential. It's consistency over potential. Okay? It's regulation over awareness. It's regulation over awareness. It's regulation over awareness. Anybody can know. YouTube telling everybody how to do the smallest things from fried chicken to fix your car. What do you mean? Knowing is enough. It's not. Grow up. 2026 does not punish because of lack of knowledge. It punishes back because of lack of regulation. Choose how you gonna live. Choose how you gonna live. So let me just tell you flat out, and let's just get straight to the bottom of this, okay? If relationships are your distraction, and this is where you got to tell the truth to yourself. You ain't got to put none in the comments or answer me, but this is what you need to tell the truth to yourself. If relationships are a distraction, if you know that you continue to pick people in your space that are not healthy for you, that drain you, that do these things, you cannot afford to keep going like that because you're going to hurt yourself if you ain't paying attention to what you need to pay attention to this year. This year going to fly by. Are you going to miss the mark again? Are you going to miss the mark again? It's the wrong time to miss it. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. If relationships are your distraction, then love in the nervous system is what you need. You can click the link in the bio to get access to it. Here's the outcomes that you're going to have coming out of love in the nervous system, okay? Number one, you're going to have attraction without chaos. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments. Number two, you're going to understand what emotional safety is because we're rewiring that nervous system to recognize it. So you being in your feminine essence will recognize the polarizing masculine because that is the only thing that can turn you on. So don't talk to me about you attracting a feminine man because really your nervous system is turned on by that because you have not rewired her for anything else. That's why you keep attracting users and losers and men who want to lay up and never give you nothing. What do you mean? Now, let me tell you something. Provision ain't never been a problem. Now, I done dealt with some clowns in my day, especially back in the day. Not now. That's long gone. But baby, I done dealt with some clowns, but they always was providers. I ain't never having it. Baby, I had ones that would give plasma to make sure I had money. I ain't play that even when I ain't had nothing. Okay? So these are the things that's very important. So the outcomes. Thank you for being here, Lovey. The outcomes from love and the nervous system. Number one, attraction without chaos. Number two, emotional safety. Number three, clear attachment. Clear attachment. You're clear on what you're attached to. Okay. And you're going to learn the science of detachment. You're going to learn why you have these attachment issues. So I used to be, when I first found out, I was like, oh my God, I'm anxiously attached. Da, 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 da. Let me tell you something. I went from having an attachment issue of anxiousness to being extremely secure. It's not that difficult to make that switch. People try to make it seem like this is something you're going to deal with. You're all like, oh my God, I'm anxious. That's why I keep attracting avoidance. No, you keep attracting avoidance because you have not dealt with your anxiousness. You have not dealt with the root of where that actually comes from. You have not gotten to the bottom of the map. It's not because you anxiously attached. You're not supposed to be attached to anything of this world. See, then y'all be saying y'all be believers and stuff too, and it be kind of blowing my mind a bit, actually. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. It blows my mind for you to say that you're a believer out of one end of your mouth, and then the other end you say that you keep attracting avoidant attachment men because you're anxiously attached, knowing doggone well that you're not supposed to be attached to anything of this world. You're actually supposed to be transformed by the daily renewing of your mind. But yet you're saying that you have attachment issues? No, baby. No. We need to deal with the root of your lack. We need to deal with the root of your lack. You know why women stay in scenarios where they're disrespected and dishonored and disregarded? Because you think you can't do better. You think a man hesitates to be able, when he know he could do better? You think he hesitate? You do you think when he knows that he could do better? Do you think he hesitates to stick around and stay with you, girl? Do you think your loyalty is going to buy you something, girl? Wake it up. Wake it up, beloved. If your life, if you are in a state, and because let me just tell you, let me loving the nervous system. If you got attachment issues, go on over there. Go on over there and go get that. You can get a recliner firm and Afterpay for $222. Stop playing with yourself. If relationships are your distraction, then you need to go ahead and go over there. I'll break down a little bit more what's in loving the nervous system towards the end. Okay? They judge us so quickly but want to give everyone a chance. Girl, that's what I'm saying, baby. They will get up and roll on you when they feel like they're going to find something better. And you want to sit here. You want to sit here because you don't think you can get anything better. Because your belief is that everybody operates like that. But instead of you actually recalibrating, actually taking radical responsibility for what you've allowed into your space, you can't manifest something greater in your space, which is why you sit right there. You sit right there at the level of your self-esteem. Okay? Now, if relationships are your struggle, like I said, head on over there. Love the nervous system is going to be that girl for you. The second thing is this. If your life collapses under pressure, then emotional foundations is what you're going to be looking at. Okay? You can get that with Klarna Firm and Afterpay as well as $333. The outcome of getting emotional foundations, and emotional foundations is for women who honestly, they don't have the capacity to sit there and watch videos. My ideal client, the women that come work with me on high level, they don't really have time to watch a lot of videos because they're at capacity. But they do have time to listen, which is why Foundations is an audio-based course. That particular course helps you rewire your nervous system. It helps you rewire your nervous system because we create a whole new emotional baseline, a whole nother emotional baseline foundation for yourself. And that provides you stability, that provides you containment, that provides you consistency, and that provides you internal order. And guess what? That makes you an energetic match to be able to attract the proper energy into your space. Why? Because you are stable, because you are contained, because you are consistent, because you have order. You ain't even going to be attracted to a man who lacks any of those things. You understand what I'm telling you? Your palette changes after emotional foundations. Your palette changes after loving the nervous system too. Your palette changes. If you know you are consistently being played out here in these relationships, go deal with your attachment issues because you are attached to an idea. You're not even attached to the man. You attached to an idea that you have idealized, and now you have made it an idol. And when you make something your God and put it on a pedestal, and it shows you that it ain't nothing but a rock, it ain't nothing but a human, now your world is shattered. But this is what happens when you create idols. This is why we're not supposed to do that. Okay? That's why we're not supposed to do that. So like I said, click the link in the bio to get access to those. If you need a structural reset, then Foundations is going to be there, girl. If you are having the leaks in your relationships and that's costing you power, then Love and the Nervous System is where you're going to need to be, okay? What questions do you guys have for me? You can drop them in the comments. While you guys are dropping questions, I'm going to pull up a little bit to kind of give you a little bit more information on each of these products. I also have the Pattern Interruption Lab. That's going to be starting. We were starting on the 8th, but I had to push it back. So we're actually going to be starting on the 15th. So you can click the link in the bio to find out more information about that. Okay. But drop your questions for me while do I have this on here? Okay, yeah, I do. While I pull this up to be able to let you guys know. Thank you, Lovey. All right. So, loving the nervous system. Here are the things that you're basically going to dive deep. We're going to dive deep into why your nervous system chooses the same type of men over and over again in different bodies. What emotional state your body is secretly addicted to, chaos intensity, anxiety, overfunctioning, or survival. Everybody has a primary emotional home. Okay, and you get to identify yours. We're going to talk about how your attachment style reacts under stress, why stable, consistent men may feel boring or foreign or suspicious. It's not a preference issue, it's literally your nervous system. How to regulate your emotional triggers in real time, how to break the habit of over efforting in love. I'm tired of y'all over giving. I'm hearing y'all buying cars and stuff. Please, let's not do this anymore in 2026. I'm tired, okay? It also talks about supports you in how to shift into feminine receiving and emotional openness. It also talks about how to rewire your body to recognize healthy love is safe. So it's literally a somatic recalibration, okay? So what changes after this class? Your body, you'll understand why your body rejects stable love, why intensity feels like connection, why you attach too quickly or not at all, why consistency makes you nervous, why silence makes you spiral, why you fall for emotionally unavailable people, why good men feel foreign. Notice I did that, okay? Why you overthink even when you know better, why you're drawn to men who can't choose you, and why you sabotage healthy connection without meaning to. So those are the things that you're going to be very, very clear on when you come out of that, okay? When you come out of it, you're going to feel safe in your own body. You're going to be able to trust. Like I said, loving the nervous system is definitely one of the community favorites. People absolutely love and can't get enough of it because it really positions you to be able to receive in the way you want to receive. Now we're talking about foundation specifically. I got you, but I'm gonna come back up. When we're talking about foundations, emotional foundations, you're gonna get 6 full lengthy modules. Okay, you're gonna get voice notes in each one. They're gonna be about 4 or 5. Each one of the voice notes may be about less than 5 minutes, so they're anywhere between 2 minutes and 5 minutes. Okay, I think maybe one of them is 6. You're gonna get workbooks, you're gonna get worksheets. Okay, so here are the modules that we're gonna cover in emotional foundations. Number 1, emotional survival. We're gonna take you from emotional survival to emotional power, the shift out of holding it all together into true emotional authority. The second module is nervous system grounding for high functioners. Stabilize your baseline even when life doesn't slow down. A lot of people don't know how to function when life don't slow down. Sometimes people die back to back in your family. You gonna die? See, you still living. Are you gonna die? Because see, now we really need to get into it because people get stuck right there. And you got a business to run. You got babies to raise. You got this. You got that. You gonna die? Okay? So again, nervous system grounding for high functioners, stabilizing your baseline even when life does not slow down. It's the second module. The third module, we get into emotional authority. I lead me. How to direct your internal state instantly without force or collapse. Okay, that's the third module. The fourth module is identity grounding, becoming the woman you say you are. This is where you update the identity blueprint that you have been living from. If you have been living from the state of a people pleaser, getting rid of it. An overgetter, getting rid of it. An overthinker, getting rid of it. An overanalyzer, getting rid of it. Okay? Module 5 is emotional wealth and self-trust. This is the beginning of your self-assured era. And module 6 is emotional magnetism and integration. Your new baseline, emotional presence, and your feminine magnetism. Okay? So that is what you're going to get in those modules in emotional foundations. You can get that for $333 with Klein Firm and Afterpay, and you can get Love in the Nervous System with Klein Firm and Afterpay as well, and it's $222. Let me see what this question was. You were talking about this, but why do I feel sick and nervous in my body when I'm doing excuse me, sorry. Why do I feel sick and nervous in my body when doing things? You have to first assess, one, what is it that you're doing? One, you have to have everything starts at the baseline. Thank you, Lovey. Everything starts at the baseline, right? So spiritually, what is happening with you? Mentally, what is happening with you? Emotionally, what is happening with you? Because that is causing a physical reaction. Okay? So we have to start at the baseline of those things. What exactly is happening in those experiences as a baseline, right? That's where you have to start to see why you may be getting nervous or why these things may be happening. You have to start at the very, very, very bottom. Trying to think of an example that I can use. Perfect example, right? Every time I go and meet with my boss, I just get really, really anxious and I get really, really nervous, right? Um, let's just say if that was the case. Um, I would investigate why I'm getting nervous, why I'm getting anxious. Well, I feel like when I go into this space, I'm in trouble. Okay. I feel like I'm in trouble. Well, what does that remind me of? Then it goes back to when I was a child, XYZ, XYZ. And so now that's transitioning into adulthood. As an adult, you're not walking around nervous. You're not walking around scared. You're not walking around like that because as an adult, you understand that a part of adulthood is being incorporated into society, maneuvering around. As an adult, you understand how things work. A lot of times that is the inner child that has the issue, the inner child that's afraid, the inner child that's having these things going on. And a lot of that has to do with, again, your attachments. Now we're going back to love and nervous system. You have to deal with your deeply rooted attachments. A lot of the times, thank you, love, for these likes and these gifts. A lot of times we are attached to ideas of something. We're not even attached to the reality, especially when it comes down to romance. A lot of times you're like, oh, but I love him. No, you love the idea of who you have made him to be in your mind. Vague men win all the time with women. Vague men win all the time with anxious women because anxious women will make up and romanticize a man, that they have only been in relation or have only went on one date with. You didn't went on one date. You know very little information about him. You leave that date. You're attracted to him. You had a good time. So now you're pushing this whole thing in your mind about who you think this man is. Here you go, filling in the gaps of this vague experience. And you are now holding him to this standard and to this idea of who you believe he is when it is literally a fictional character in your mind. Because you don't even know if he is this. No real evidence that he's this. None. So that's why I say, if you're going to date in 2026, you need to get love in the nervous system because it also comes with a workbook that helps you work through your attachments now. It also helps you understand intuitive dating, which is a strategy that I teach. Only I teach. And then also I give you a sheet that helps you understand intention. So you can do a timeline for yourself, not for the man. Oh, I'm waiting 90 days. No. I'm teaching you how to know what's up in the first 30 days in that course. I'm teaching you what's up, and you'll know in the first 30 days what's up with him. All it takes is 30 days. If you can't close your legs, thank you, Lovey, for these gifts and these likes. Hi, Lovey. If you can't close your legs, and if you really can't close your legs for 30 days, you in trouble. Okay? You can click the link in the bio to get access to the course. The course is $222. You can get it with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. I'm going to tell you some of the things that you're going to see I'm going to break down just a little bit of what's in one of the forms. Let me see if I can pull it up. I had it on here. Did I take it off? I might have. I think I had it. No. Hold on. I'm going to see. I'm going to see if I can give you a little bit more. After purchasing, you have a year. After you purchase it, you have a year to be able to utilize it, implement it, do everything that you need to do. Absolutely, no problem. So let me tell you, I'm gonna give you a little snippet of if I can pull it up because I'm on a different computer. Okay, yeah, I can. I'm going to pull up one of the documents that kind of tells you, so you kind of have a better understanding when I say intuitive dating and the intent sheet that has you in that space. I just want y'all to stop being played. Loving the Nervous System, the full course is called Loving the Nervous System, the Science of Attraction, Emotional Safety, and Feminine Magnetism. Okay, so those are the things that that's in it. Let's go to my setup so I can tell you that because I don't remember. It's the right one. Okay, here we go. So like in the intuitive space, I feel like I had to hide myself like when I was a kid. Exactly. So that's what we have to deal with, or not give the full me. Exactly. And I personally don't participate in experiences where I can't be the fullness of myself. I was just having this conversation with my best friend today. If I am any, I can't have a friendship or a relationship with anybody where I am freedom, my freedom is not respected, transparency is not present, and stability is not available, is not there. I won't participate in any experience like that. That's lacking any of those things. Okay. So what you get in Loving the Nervous System, one of them is the intuitive dating strategy. If you're going to be dating, I don't recommend when to be out here dating because it's a lot going on. I say kind of slow down. But if you're going to be out here dating, it's a way that you can do it to protect yourself and guard yourself. So it's a strategy. It's a feminine guide to vetting and ease, vetting with ease and confidence. So the first section of that is going to be exactly like the foundation, knowing what you want. So do you want attention? Do you want friendship? Do you want a relationship? Do you want marriage? Do you want other things? Like, it's going to ask you that, to be honest with yourself, right? And then it goes into the second section, which is the art of strategic conversation. I teach you the 80-20 rule. I teach you the power of pauses and mystery. I teach you how to watch effort instead of listening to words. See, this is how y'all stop getting played. Okay. I give you 4 key vetting questions that you ask over that 30-day period of time to be able to help you to gauge what exactly is going on. Okay. And you get to observe. Section 3 is identifying his energy and his intentions early. Section 4 is self-preservation and emotional intelligence. How to stay detached but be feminine. When to cut off without feeling guilty. Because some of y'all don't know how to cut people out. Well, he ain't do nothing wrong. Stop wasting somebody's time y'all know you don't want nothing with. Just stop. Because universally and spiritually and scientifically, you about to harm yourself. That's using somebody. Stop. If you don't want that, just let it go. That's how people get hurt. That's how horrible things happen. Like, just don't do that, okay? So it goes into how to stay detached but feminine, when to cut it off without guilt, what to do when you're confused. Then there's a bonus section with feminine called feminine power and feminine boundaries. How to reject without over-explaining. How to let a man know you require more without sounding demanding. All of these things I have in here for you so you can maneuver in that one document, right? And then you have the workbook, of course, and the workbook supports you in going through each section. Section 1 is understanding your love pattern. Section 2 is your nervous system and attraction rewiring. Section 3, emotional mastery and self-regulation. Section 4, feminine magnetism and receptivity. And Section 5, the love reset plan that supports you in actually integrating these things into practice. And the other document that you have is the intent plan, okay? So how long should it take you to figure out a man's intention? We ain't talking about him. I'm never talking about them. I'm never talking about them. Do you understand? I'm always talking about you. Because at the end of the day, it's about you. It's about you. And I need you to understand that. Y'all be making other people y'all world. Stop. It's about you. Okay? Thank you, my love. Oh, that's so pretty. Thank you. Okay, so the first thing in that is you're going to find out the first week is going to be clarity and feminine positioning. The second is going to be strategic vetting and conversation skills. Okay. The third is identifying patterns and levels of investment. And section 4 is for decision making. So this is going to support you in not wasting your time. Bottom line, by week 2, you're going to know what the intention is. And by day 30, you're going to be very clear on what you're doing. You understand? That's what's important. You always need to know what you're doing. Never worry about what he's doing. What you doing? What is your response? He did. What you finna do? What you finna do? I was having a conversation with my sister, right? And we were talking about parenting. Y'all know I don't have any biological children. And so I was saying, I always felt like if I had children, that I was gonna have a boy, I was gonna have twins, and if I had twins, I was gonna have a boy. I felt very strongly about this. And I was like, the course is called Love in the Nervous System. Okay. The full name of the course is Love in the Nervous System, the Science of Attraction, Emotional Safety, and Feminine Magnetism. All of this is about you. And we were talking about the difference between parenting boys and parenting girls, right? And parenting girls, you can have the conversations, you shouldn't do this, da 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 da. I don't know why you can't talk to boys. And we were kind of using this example, and we were like, if a child got in trouble, if I had a son, and I got a phone call from the school that he was acting up. I'm sorry, he was acting a fool. I'm finna show you the difference between women and men. And he was acting a fool, right? When he gets, I'm not finna come up to the school and embarrass him and act a fool. I'm not finna call him and be like, or call and be like, have them, put him on the phone. But I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. He gonna come through that door and he gonna walk in his room and that room gonna be naked. I ain't even gonna say nothing. He gonna come in, hey mom, hey baby. I'm gonna kiss him on the cheek. He gonna go in the room. That room gonna be naked. Ain't gonna be no game. Ain't gonna be no television. Ain't gonna be nothing that can make him have a great time. It's gonna be extra boring in that room. And when he walk in that room and he come back and he scream because he feel like he got robbed. Because see, men only respond to action, including little boys. That's why when you keep telling him to stop putting his hand by the fire, he gotta touch the fire for him to learn. So he gonna walk in the naked room. And when he comes screaming bloody murder in my room and say somebody robbed him, what happened? I'm gonna say, baby, I feel robbed. Because today I had to get a phone call from your teacher that my son, mine, I got robbed of time hearing and energy and attention hearing that my son was acting dishonorable. And so since I got robbed of my time, my energy, my attention, I believe you don't value the money that I've put into you having an experience in this room. So I took it. Now you know how it feels. You understand? See, that hit harder than me trying to go off on him. Because boys and men don't respond to words. And this is masculine psychology, I'm telling you. They only respond to actions exactly like she said. I keep telling people, they only respond to actions. You are wasting your time talking to them. This is why you need love in the nervous system, so you can stop talking and start walking. And then you're going to be walking into aligned spaces where you don't have to do all of this with people. You don't have to show them you're not playing. They just can see you don't play. And because they see you don't play, they don't want to waste your time. They don't want to take a chance of losing you because they understand it is a privilege to be in your presence because you are that much of an experience. Do you understand what I'm telling you? That's what happens when you release your attachments. That's what you're going to get when you enroll in love and the nervous system. Get yourself right if you're going to be out here doing that. I don't recommend, I feel like every woman needs to be worried about her money right now. You need to be worried about building capital. You need to be worried about being in position to receive what's yours. That's my personal opinion. But hey, I'm not the master of nobody's destiny and nobody's life. People are going to do what they want to do. And women ain't going to stop going after that, baby. So if you're going to be in that space, at least understand the feminine wisdom of yourself. At least understand the importance of bridging the gap between feminine mysticism and feminine science, okay? And understanding that this is feminine mastery because you will be able to not only become regulated, but you're going to get the results you want. And here's the kicker about loving the nervous system that's so powerful that I love. 2, is that when you get love in the nervous system and you realize this whole thing is really about you, this will not only improve your relationships and how you interact with men, it's going to help you make more money too. Because money is masculine. And the masculine operates on the same principle, whether it's energetic or whether it's in presence. It's the same thing. Okay? So that is all I have for you today. What questions do you guys have for me, if any questions? Because I think I just had that one. But click the link in the bio to get access to Love and the Nervous System, or Emotional Foundations, depending on where you are. But 2026 is not going to be forgiving. And your intuition is not enough. So figure out what you're going to do. Okay? You either are going to embody the truth of yourself or you're going to be exposed. Surprise! That's where we are as a society. Okay? All right. So I hope that you guys have an amazing Wisdom Wednesday. Like I said, I only go live on TikTok now on Wednesdays and Fridays. That's just for January. It may come down to 1 day a week over here on TikTok because I am enjoying Substack and different things like that. And I told y'all it's gonna come a time where I ain't gonna be as available. Okay. I do offer coaching. The best way for you to get into work with me now is to come into the Pattern Interruption Lab. The Pattern Interruption Lab is going to start on January the 15th. It was going to start on the 8th, but I had to push it back. So it's going to start on the 15th. He said, thank you. I'm working on completing the foundations course now. Yes, Christy, I remember. I remember your purchase because I remember your email. So yes, I'm excited. How are you? How are you enjoying it so far? I love so much about the Emotional Foundations course is I love that it's all audio. I love that you can listen to it while you're cooking. I love that you can listen to it while you're walking. I love that you can listen to it while you sleep. It is excellent for subliminal programming. It is really excellent when it comes down to rewiring your nervous system. Every single module in Emotional Foundations is so personal to me. And I was very intentional in creating that product because I understand how overwhelming it is for so many to consistently be looking at videos all the time and doing this all, you have to be kind of locked in to be able to really watch videos and stuff. And I feel like my ideal client, the woman who needs, yes, it's audio. Emotional Foundations is completely audio. Love and the Nervous System is video. My client really needs the support audio wise to calm her down because she's had enough brain heavy tools. Like she loves the concept of neuroscience. It's cool. She might want to get into it, but it's just like another tool for her. So she needs to be in her body first. And so Emotional Foundations puts you in your body first. It allows you to just be and understand the power of being and how much power you really have. Like if you want to activate your power again, oh my God, Emotional Foundations is definitely the course of where you need to be because it is going to set you up. It's beautifully created. And I'm not just saying it because I made it, but it's really beautifully curated the way I have it set up. It is words, it is writing, and words and writing is what makes up this entire world. You think about the verbal contracts, you think about the written contracts, you think about the things that they've written, laws, lies that they've created in laws. So understanding the power of your words, understanding the power of what you write down, understanding how these things are connected to rewiring your nervous system literally changes your entire life. A woman who is ready to manage her emotions is a woman who is ready to become a master of her life. And so if you want to become a master of your life, Emotional Foundations is that girl. I promise you, Emotional Foundations is that girl. I'm just in love with it because, and I think it's because it's my first audio-based course, and I did so much research on how videos and how my client really needs this, and just the things that I have been hearing from women of just them not being able to have a proper or sit on their emotional baseline and needing to reset that. So I love, 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 love. I love loving the nervous system because it helps women get rid of those attachments. But I adore Emotional Foundations for the work that it does and the calm that it provides for women who buy into that one. So thank you so much. Thank you. For grabbing that, Christy, because I definitely remember. Yep, she's ready to become a master of her life when she is ready to manage her emotional responses and really get in that space. Because women will say things like, I can't help the way I feel. Yes, you can. You haven't been taught, but I can teach you. Okay, so click the link in the bio to get access to any of these things. You have access to these products for a year, so you have all year to be able to work through this. Normally when women go in there, it doesn't take them that long because they start being like, dang, this actually is like hidden. So they come in and they start implementing. I had a woman who got Love and the Nervous System who was in the actual Love and the Nervous System live class because we had it live first. And within 24 hours, she was able to get her partner to do something that she had been wanting him to do for 6 months. And she just did it by following the things that were in Love and the Nervous System. The science of attraction, emotional safety, and feminine magnetism. Because attraction is science. Okay, everything really is rooted in spirituality and science. And truthfully, to me, everything on this earth is written in science and math. And so I teach the science of things so that you understand how things work, so you know how to care for them, you know how to protect them, and you know how to expand them or sustain them. Okay, so that's what I'm really, really great at. All right. You're truly gifted. I'm on a journey to self-rediscovery. Then, honey, if you are there, Emotional Foundations is going to be that girl for you. Trust me. If you are at a starting point, Emotional Foundations is going to get you there because it's not going to overwhelm you. You ain't going to feel like you got to get notes because you're watching the video and doing this. None of that. You just need to be. For Emotional Foundations, you just need to be. And for loving the nervous system, you need to see. Meaning you need to see yourself so you can self-correct. Once you see and you self-correct, okay, and you learn how to be, right? And that's when you get to see what magnetizes from you just sitting in your overall being. Because being, and I talked about this in that TikTok video, right? How I activated the senses. Go back and check it out. It's on there. I posted it yesterday. And I talked about I love being a woman. It's power in just being. Okay, you don't have to seem extremely useful. It's power in your being. All right. That's why Adam was like lonely. That's why he was so hyped when he saw Eve, because there's power in us being there, being present. You may hear even people say, well, if he doesn't love his wife, why um why does he stay there? Because there's power in the presence of being there, right? There's power in her being there. Some person may not like you, but they still want your presence as well, right? The book that I would recommend would be scripture. I don't have a lot of books to recommend, honestly, because most women are like, I don't do a lot of the self-help books and this and this and that, because you have enough information. It's not about information. It's about implementation. It's about recalibration. And you're only going to get that by entering into spaces beyond a book. That's why I tell women all the time, like, you can only get so much from our lives. You can sit on here, you can get information like, oh my God, this is so great. I learned so much. I don't care that you learned anything. I'm going to be real with you. I don't care about that. I care about if you put these things in place and you actually get results. I don't care nothing about awareness. It means nothing, because you can go on YouTube, like I said, to learn how to fry chicken or fix a car. We're not lacking in information. We're lacking in implementation. Like you said, we're lacking in implementation because it has to happen. In order for you to implement, you must understand the science. And that is what I teach, the science of things. So if you want to know the science of why you keep attracting, you want to know the science of why you keep falling for these men that keep playing, you want to know the science of why you're not making no money, you want to know the science of why you're not losing no weight and why you're not getting healthier, Emotional Foundations and Loving the Nervous System. Okay? All right, y'all. I got to get out of here because I got to go. But I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing, amazing Wednesday. Click the link in the bio to subscribe to my YouTube channel or subscribe to my Substack, because I am over there as well. What other questions do you guys have for me before I get ready to go? Because I got to maneuver some things and go do some stuff. Just say one more thing. Go ahead. What's your question, Lovey? And congratulations to those who have already purchased. Does that program give access to be able to communicate with you? Yes, you can email me. Now the what do you call that thing? The I can't even think. Pattern Interruption Lab, you have me directly, but we don't start that until the 15th, and that's $888. You can get that with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. When you are in the if you get the Emotional Foundations program and you have questions or you have something else, you definitely are able to email me, and I'm definitely going to email you directly back and communicate with you. And if it's something that you need additional, then we can discuss it there. If I feel like it's something that requires me to talk to you more to get more information, then I may possibly be like, hey, can we hop on a call? But it just kind of depends on exactly what's happening. Okay. All right, y'all, I'm gonna go. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing day. Click the link in the bio to get access to any of these products or services.